Moahila is a powerful wolf-like cryptid that resembles a cross between a dog and a bear. It appears as a giant wolf with a wider head, long white fur, and stands about 4 feet at the shoulder. The cryptid likes to travel.
How did you get involved with ghost hunting?
Oh, okay. Well, it was actually an interesting thing. So I'm Victoria here, just in case nobody knows. So essentially, what started us with the ghost hunting thing, we had friends that we sort of met up with, and also like paranormal investigators. I guess we sort of, followed in the same footsteps, more or less, on Instagram and on also X and whatnot. And we just decided to go to some locations. They brought devices and we got a little introduced to it. We were intrigued by it too. We watched a lot of, I would say, reality shows. So we knew sort of what to expect. Gina, I think, purchased some devices for us as well.
Gina Armstrong.
Yeah, it was never really our goal,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
to really ghost hunt, but it was intriguing because we had seen a few shows and then, we saw a few people sort of in action. So we thought, it'd be fun to just have gadgets. It was very casual. It wasn't anything like, and then it sort of became part of our research a little bit.
Brew some coffee, pull up a chair, and open your mind. Today I'm joined by Gina Armstrong and Victoria Vancek, paranormal investigators. They've co-authored a trilogy of spooky books exploring haunted locations throughout British Columbia. They host book readings and lead guided tours of some of these most haunted locations. What kind of equipment did you play around with, the toys that you bought, just to kind of have fun?
Oh, in the beginning, it was just very sparse. I think we got the REM pod, we've got an EMF, like the electromagnetic field reader meter, and then we had digital recorders. And so that's kind of what we started off with. Very, very simple. I think the thing that sort of got us hooked was when we first recorded our very first EVP.
Don't know if you want to say anything. It looks like there was activity around one of these rooms here.
At Britannia Shipyards. So then it was like, oh my gosh, it's like that really works to do that. So we had never tried to do, anything with a digital recorder before, but it's not a voice that we heard with the naked ear. But then when we were playing back a few different recordings, we clearly heard somebody say hello a couple of times. So yeah, and nobody else was there. So that was really exciting. So I think from that point on, we were just hooked.
Can you walk us through kind of what you did, where you were, and how you captured the voice?
Oh, yeah. So actually, it was during the pandemic. So there was this was the perfect time in a way because it allowed us to do some research and just sort of visit locations that are local. So basically, Gina and I went into the area where they were doing shooting. And the best part was that they were trying to keep the social distancing. So there was nobody there except Gina and myself. So we walked through the area there. We were able to do a self-guided tour. And just kind of out of curiosity, we figured, it's safe to maybe pull out a few devices. Gina pulled out her digital recorder. And we didn't even expect anything. We were just randomly asking questions just out in just nowhere. And we were just standing there and we were asking questions that if anybody's here, if anybody could provide us with a name, is anybody here with us?
2:38 p.m. Don't know if you want to say anything. It looks like there was activity around one of these rooms here.
But nothing. We heard nothing, of course. And so we walked and completed our tour. We used some handheld devices as well. We got a few hits on the EMF. And by the time we wrapped it up, we went into the car and we were going home. And Gina's in the back. She always likes to review everything, all her photography and all her EVPs while we're driving.
And it was, I'm not driving, by the way, just to stay face. It's not wall. Yes. So I'm in the back seat being a passenger.
Right. So, and Gina's like, oh my God, I think we have somebody saying something hello. So, we're like, what? So she's replaying, and it was just completely audible. Like it was so clear as day. And it was a man's voice say hello right after when Gina says, if you can probably, greet us or say hi or something. She says, say hi. And it goes, hello.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a regular person's voice either. Like it sounds like a person, but it sounds different. You kind of have to hear it. And maybe I'll actually replay it and I'll post it to our story on Instagram. Because yeah, it'll be really interesting because it's a really, really older EVP. It's our first one, so it'll be interesting.
Right.
And it's not, just to play devil's advocate for a second, like it's not like distortion or anything like that, and you're kind of like making it out. Like it's really clear. Wow.
No.
It is really clear.
And right on cue, when Gina says, we're here, we want to talk to you, and she says if you can say hi. And then we're just waiting around. But in seconds, shortly after, it says hello. Okay. And that was kind of exciting. We were just like freaking out. That was our first EVP.
I think we listened to it like 50 times. Like,
What can you tell me? What's your favorite place that you've been to?
oh, favorite place. You're gonna put us on the spot. Oh no. Um, boy, I don't know that I have a favorite. I would say some of the places that we maybe didn't expect to have a ghost story. Like there's places that people have written about that have experienced things, but we've gone to some new locations too that that we didn't expect to have ghostly activity. So I would even say someplace like Minnetonka Lodge in Coquitlam.
Yeah. Probably for myself, I would say it's still like the BC Penitentiary because that one was kind of cool when we had the opportunity to go downstairs. Right now there's like the area where they had all the solitary cells. And like it was really like almost a private tour we were able to do over there. It was Gina, her husband, myself. That's it. Nobody else there. So it was great. No noise pollution, nothing. No one to interfere. And Gina's just taking pictures of us, me, and her husband down the hallway. And the lights were rather dim. There was only a little light at the end of the hallway there. And so she captured our silhouettes, basically. She thought this would be a cool photo. We thought nothing of it, but the solitary cells definitely give you a vibe over there. So we're, standing in the hallway to getting our pictures taken. Gina comes across and looks through again her photos, and she sees that behind me, right as I'm holding on to EMF, my EMF is going off, and behind me, she sees a silhouette of a man standing there, looking almost in like sort of like period attire, sort of like almost like a guard or something.
That is amazing.
Back in the like early 1900s or something. That was the creepiest thing, and you literally can see it. It almost looks like maybe a prisoner or a warden or something like that.
Like from behind, like he's sort of walking away from us. So yeah, he's like just walking down the hall, which is kind of creepy. So I'll send all of these to you just so you can see them. They are very, very fascinating, and it's like a very prominent. Like you can't even argue that it's not a man's apparition because it looks like it, and it's see-through. And it's actually one of the things we talk about during one of our events when we do our PowerPoint presentation. We actually do show it to people and do like blow up the image to pass around and everything, just so to see if like anybody can debunk it because it's so amazing and so kind of freaky.
And the one other interesting place I liked was the Heritage Hall in Pitt Meadows. Last year we were scoping the area out because we were dealing with we had like some walks and stuff like that and some events through the city of Pitt Meadows through their Parks and Rec guide. So we asked if we could be let in. We were the only 3 people again there. We scoped the area just to see if we could use the area and how to use it. So we were just like, we bring our handhelds and obviously our digital recorders. Just, you never know sometimes what you catch. It's a historic building, but there are no rumors of it being haunted. So you're not expecting anything. But the best part was when we were running around with our digital recorder. Gina was walking around on the stage and she was then reviewing. By the time we finished, we came home. We literally had, clear as day, a voice whispering to us, what's going on. And it was really creepy. It was like, what's going on? And literally you can hear it. And we're like, what? And we're like looking around at each other and we're like, there's only 3 of us there. And that voice did not belong to anyone. That was up. And it was creepy. That was no. No.
Yeah. That was an interesting one. So definitely. And then we took a group there, like 'cause the city of Pitt Meadows staff wanted to have a little session there to just see what sort of things we do. So we took them and all kinds of things happened. And then the very last thing that happened, we're all standing out in the parking lot, sort of saying our goodbyes. And somebody notices a light go on in the building on the top floor. Well, nobody's in there anymore. So they all debated for a while about who's going to turn off the light, and they figured, nope, nobody's going back in. They're just going to leave the light on till the next day because it was already late at night. It was getting dark, and nobody wanted to go in alone. So that place was a surprise.
Wow.
Was.
Yeah, that's wild. Tell me about your tours, your walks, your presentations that you put on for like the City of Pitt Meadows and what you did over at the PoMo Museum.
Gina, do you
Oh, yeah. So one of the things that once we started doing the tours, we started doing walking tours initially, and we didn't do like ghost hunting or paranormal investigation events at that point. But then we started taking people with us casually, and everybody loved doing it. So we thought, well, maybe people would love to do this as an event because ghost hunts are kind of popular, and we also got away from doing it just around Halloween. So we made sure, like during the year, we're actually offering these events, which always sell out, regardless of what time of year. And one thing we do like is that when we take groups, that people capture different things and they can all witness this stuff together. So it's not just us saying, oh, we heard a voice or we heard a scream or we saw something go off and on. Like everybody gets to witness it. So I think that's the main thing, is that we sort of started, really liking that group dynamic and people weighing in on what they saw, people researching, people messaging us on Instagram afterwards, like everybody's excited at what, something that they discovered or some piece of history, and that we sort of end up sharing. So it just kind of helps our research too, as far as when we're looking into the historic stuff, but also into whatever people experienced there. And there was just more than one person. So it gets to be really, really exciting when the whole group can sort of witness something supernatural that we can't explain.
And the coolest thing too is that it's interesting because we never thought of doing any walks at the time. We were just writing our books, had our books out there, basically throughout British Columbia, and it was interesting it was I would say quite the honor, we would have to say, because the City of Pitt Meadows reached out to us and asked us if we would be interested in doing any walks, community walks and stuff like that through the Parks and Rec. And we both looked at each other and were like, that was not our plan. Walks. How do we do these? Like, we didn't even know anything about it. But we said, yeah, sure. Let's sign one up. And the very first walk we did was our Sasquatch walk.
Sasquatch walk at
Okay.
Pitt Lake. That was good.
That was fun. And we were completely booked. So we have to open up another session, and that one got booked up as well. So we realized there was a need for it, that people liked it, like, because there are not many, I would say, historical walking tours or ghostly walking tours that are outside of Vancouver. There's quite a few, obviously, in Vancouver and in Victoria and Fort Langley we mentioned. But otherwise, no other communities don't really have anything else. So we figured, why not? Let's bring something over here local. Gina lives in Maple Ridge, me in Pitt Meadows. So we figured, we do walks in Maple Ridge and Pitt too.
And it was kind of peer pressure too, because people kept asking us, are you going to do any walks? Are you guys going to do any ghost hunts? So eventually we sort of caved, and then it just became a thing.
You mentioned books. Tell us about the books that you've written.
Oh, the books. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we have 3 volumes of our initial book, which was going to be a book, and then just too many locations, too much information. Plus, we like to include, there she's holding up volume 3. Evenings and Avenues, Hauntings in the Outskirts. So we completed volume 3. We're working on volume 4. But we like to also include a little bit of our own photography in there, quite a bit of our own photography. So just to kind of, do documenting from like the written perspective, we use photography and all of that. So, and then the paranormal research is a big thing of it. So yeah, we just have a lot of locations that we want to share with people that, we keep visiting. So the books are going to be ongoing as far, we planned out maybe already the next 3 or 4 volumes. Volume 4 should be coming out next year, sometime in the spring, summer, maybe fall, depends. It's just the 2 of us when we do the publishing too. So it's kind of, we both work full time, so it's a little tricky sometimes time wise. But yeah, so the books are have been received very well. People love them. They're small prints, so we don't, they're not available everywhere, but through us, people can always order them. We will ship wherever. And for the first time ever in October, we have a fiction book coming out, Ghost Stories for Winter. So this is fiction and some creative nonfiction. So there's some historical things, but we sort of have a little bit of a creative spin on it. Plus, they have some very beautiful illustrations too in there. So yeah, just a fun. Yeah, there we go. The Yule Cats. We have some different legends from around the world that we sort of put our own spin on, and then we just have completely made up stories as well. So there will be something for everybody from young readers to adults. So it just goes back to taking us back to our age-old like excitement of ghost stories. And Victorians told tales, ghostly tales around wintertime, so that was bigger time than Halloween. So we thought, well, let's come up with, finally compile all these and release them. So the ghosts will be released soon.
And the winter ghosts as well. Some of the stories do include real historical data. Just the one like I just showed you right now on the death of David P. So that one was an actual story back in the, I would say, was it like in the early 1900s? And it was a man who was mistakenly murdered just due to like a mistaken identity. But the thing is that he's supposed to roam, like the ghost should be probably like haunting Ross Bay Cemetery. So
and Victoria.
So so there's stuff like that Gina kind of compiled and also like tied in the real historical side of stuff too in some of the stories.
Oh, very cool. So why do you think people have this fascination with the paranormal?
Go for it. I think it's
like, where does it come
curiosity.
from? Yeah.
I think it's mystery, curiosity. I think too there tends to be, like Gina mentioned, now a trend in the last, I would say, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, like with related to paranormal research, investigations. A lot of that stuff is on TV. I know it's a bit dramatic sometimes, but people are curious, and I think the more you sort of start talking about it, the more people are curious about also, I think maybe sometimes death, what happens after death. So, you never know.
Yeah, it's just a great unknown, I think, too. Like just something that we're always wondering about. And I think people actually like to be scared, believe it or not. Because when we're kids, we all sort of look for that sort of thing. You don't want to go in there, but you kind of do. And, it's where you kind of have this love-hate relationship sort of with fear and that unknown and something supernatural. And you sort of, you want to see it, but you don't. And so I think all of that kind of when you're, faced with it as an adult, and that's what happened to us. We went on a ghostly walk and all of a sudden we were like, oh yeah, we just really love this stuff. So we started getting back into like staying at haunted hotels and kind of trying to find out, if anything would happen. And it just kind of grew from there.
And exclusively, I think we always look for places that are either haunted or some sort of maybe macabre or creepy story behind it. So now that's our goal.
Are you skeptical? And if so, how do you balance that?
For sure. I know we've gone to locations that maybe are less reportedly haunted. We don't know much about them. And I'm almost the type of person who would say, I'll believe it when I see it or when I hear it. But I'm curious, and I'm almost deep down inside, I'm hoping that we do come across something. But yeah, I would probably say I'm a little bit more on the skeptic side, but I think I like that. I think that's great. I have no real expectations, nothing to muddy up my, perception of something. And yeah, when we come into a location, we take our devices and we do like our baseline screening. We make sure to look around, take our devices just to make sure if there's nothing maybe electronic, because a lot of the devices can be triggered by just simple things like microwaves, outlets, electricity, even people's phones.
Yeah, and we don't want to jump to conclusions either. I think that's a really important thing because you kind of want to have it, like, oh, it's a ghost, and you want to really believe that. But one of the things we do is we repeatedly visit locations more than once so that if something is happening, are we going to get a repeat pattern or is somebody else going to pick up something we picked up last time? So yeah, it just takes a lot of sort of restraining yourself because you sure do want it to be exciting and you want to be ghostly. But at the same time, you do want to debunk that it's not like a regular occurrence. Like if in an old building, yeah, they creak, heating systems are kind of go, flooding or plumbing or whatever. So you don't want that to be, you just want to make sure that whatever you're picking up isn't just that run of the mill daily stuff in an old
Right.
building. So
It's like that meme of that, I forget his name, but the Ancient Aliens show, and he's like, it's not aliens, but it's aliens. I don't know.
yeah.
It's like,
But yeah, I'm less skeptical than I
Mhm.
used to be. That's for sure. Because now we've seen and heard things, and things happen with our devices that we can't explain. And when they happen on cue and
Mhm.
repeatedly,
yeah,
it blows your mind a little bit. You're thinking, there's got to be something to that, And then when other people pick up things that sort of corroborate what you've picked up, then it's a little bit more mysterious and magical and unknown.
Got a lot of skeptics there too, but more out of curiosity to come and see what's going on. But I love it when something does happen, and especially on cue. And when devices go off, that's amazing. Amazing.
having devices and things happen on cue. When we were at the PoMo Museum and we were recording, maybe you can kind of walk us through what happened. And
That blows us away too, and I'm still trying to figure out how that happened with the lantern, because the lantern is not a any type of paranormal device. We just take it along, obviously, for campfire events to make it a little bit more like create the ambience. So, I mean, it's always fun to make a little spooky atmosphere with it. But the weird thing is that, you know, like when those people went into the cell, when the kids went in the cell over there, and they were doing questions and answers and stuff. And it's interesting to note how they were using, I think it was a spirit box. There were words coming out, and they were doing the Estes method. But interestingly, when we were asking about something about the light, and they were getting a word, something with fire.
Full red. So Amy, you were pushed into a fire.
They did not like the lantern that was in the cell with them, or whoever the entity. It kept asking they wanted the other light. And so Gina, I can hear her in the background saying, well, it's not a fire. She goes, it's just a device. And then the girl that was in the cell who's doing the Estes method, she had the noise canceling headphones. And she just blurted out the word scream. And then the girl that was actually videotaping, there was another one there, and there was somebody else. They were outside of the cell, and they were just talking about how, oh, so was there a fire here? Did you die in the fire, Amy? Somebody was saying. And then, but the students that were inside the cell, they had a whole bunch of things going off. And then when your recording came on with a scream, that was the weirdest thing, because the scream comes in at the time when she goes, is it a scream?
It's not real. Pushed into.
Were you pushed into a fire?
And then you hear the scream in the background.
And that's something that you didn't know at the time, because we didn't hear the scream. So but they were getting the word scream on their device, and they were using an app, I think, on the phone that generates some sort of,
like the spirit chat.
yeah.
Yeah, so it was incredible, because none of us were actually, like, we were totally oblivious to the scream happened, but we didn't hear it. And then we were all having conversations, and the two people outside the cell too. That was the weirdest thing, when they were chiming in and asking questions too. Then this light comes in, like, into the picture, and a
Right.
fire. So
yeah, and the bell was going off like on cue. They're asking
the dead
questions
bell.
and they're
I know.
ding.
Yeah,
and-
the dead bell is great. We love the dead bell. It's a fascinating little piece of equipment.
Just for people who don't know, can you explain what the dead bell is?
Yeah, the dead bell is basically a motion sensor device. It's like many of the other ones. So when, the whole idea is that spirits are some form of electromagnetic energy, and that if it comes close to the bell, that it can trigger it, and it rings. It's just like a little old-fashioned bell, and that's what it sounds like. And so they have to, whatever the entity is, they have to get close to it to have it go off. And how we use it is usually in a question answer. We say, if anybody's here with us, can you trigger the bell? Then we usually hear a little ding or something. We might ask it to double tap the ding, so we get a ding ding, for something, yes or no, and different things like that. So sometimes we ask it to go off in conjunction with like another piece of equipment. We might have a motion ball or a REM pod, next to it. And yeah, just use it just like a regular motion device. It's great.
What are those other two devices? The REM pod and
Yeah.
the other, the dead bell? Yeah, no, sorry, not the dead bell. The other one you just mentioned.
Oh, the EMF
Yeah.
or the motion ball.
The motion ball.
Motion ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, the motion balls are just simple little balls that you can buy even in a pet store. And it's just a matter of them being physically moved and then the lights go off. And that is probably the best ever. You put those and set them aside. And if you have, like Gina said, another device with it, then you can almost toggle between the two. And if you think you might have something with you in that room, you can actually tell it not to touch the ball, but maybe to touch the REM pod. And REM pod is like a little device too. It's sensitive to touch. So there's like a little antenna on it and it flashes with different lights. So once the barrier's broken, the EMF barrier, then what it does, it will actually trigger and make noises. It will beep and then it will flash. And I love it because, and when you tell the spirit to walk away from that and say, touch only the ball, that's amazing. When only the ball's touched and not the REM pod. And if you say, touch the REM pod, not the ball, and it happens, amazing. Amazing. You're almost having like an intelligent conversation.
Yeah.
And those are the devices that you're using during the seance in the train car?
That's correct.
We used all of them. Yeah, we used the motion ball. We used a music box too. We have like a motion sensor music box too. If something passes in front of it, like it plays a creepy little tune just for effect. So that was kind of fun just because, when you're doing a group event, it just sounds extra creepy when there's a music box. So
And then the ball, we used the ball on the train car. That was sitting right on top of the table there, and people literally saw it move a little bit.
it was moving. It kind of rolled to the edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and our medium, Chris, who was there, he was asking a whole bunch of questions, and he was asking that if maybe it could signify that if anybody's with us, and the ball started to flash. And he asked again a second time, and it flashed a little later. It was a little bit of a delay there, but it flashed again.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. Loved that.
Oh!
It just moved. Yeah.
Fully moved.
Yeah, that moved. Yeah.
John, thank you for letting us know they're here.
Yeah, wild. So what do you think ghosts are? Because there's a couple different types of ghosts that you can encounter. But what do you think? What do you think's happening?
I think there's some energies that just kind of tend to linger for whatever reason. And it's not always tragic, not always sad. I think it might not even be always associated with the building or place you're in. It could have been something from previous, like some energy that was in the land, or there was something. Yeah, I think definitely that sometimes it just sort of stays behind like an imprint for whatever reason. It could be that somebody liked a location, maybe has some unresolved stuff. That's kind of always the theory that that they're kind of stuck here. But I don't think some spirits are stuck here. I think some voluntarily might just want to linger, and maybe they all linger on this plane and we just don't know it. Maybe not all of them come forward, but there could be something where we're always surrounded by spirits. So I don't know. I think it's, something that's very mysterious, but I think they're always around.
I do believe there's some sort of energies for sure. Like if something, an animal or even a person passes away, I mean, there is an energy that's, I think, released, but where does it go? And, there might be sort of this theory about maybe different dimensions. And I mean, like right now in this day and age, we have all these devices, but who knows, maybe in the next 50, 60 years or maybe earlier, we might be able to detect ghosts or, you might be able, but right now we just don't have. We're like right now I guess like when the Victorians used to be, using their Ouija boards. Now here we are with our EMFs and we think we're being high tech, but there might be something down the road. You never know. So just because you don't see things, like think about it. We have Wi-Fi signals. We can't smell them, hear them, see them, but they are controlling things. So, yeah. I don't know, energy.
Well, and there's so many other different entities. Like what are shadow people? People, in the paranormal world, like what are those? And people see things like the glimmer man or the flannel man. Like what are all those things? I don't think those are necessarily ghosts of people that were alive, but what are these things? We're very fascinated not only with like the ghostly side of things, but we delve into like the shadow people and the cryptids and aliens, and there's just a lot of things we don't know out there. So I think that's just a good reminder to keep an open mind, and there's just things we don't understand.
We don't know everything yet.
No.
So where can we get your books?
Oh, in a lot of our local stores here, we try to do the mom and pop stores as well. I believe it's Groove Cat. There's on Groove Cat and Records. We have also in the Phoenix Rising Emporium out in Langley. So they're all sort of everywhere else. And Gina, I think we've got still Tunes and Tales. Is that in Pitt Meadow?
Homes and Tales. We've got Bean Around books. We've got, a few different locations. So, just locally and just from us on our website. And look out for our events because we do bring our books to our events and there'll be lots more. What we're embarking upon starting in November 9th.
Yes.
Is our library tours. So the Fraser Valley Regional Libraries have asked us to do our creepy campfire stories at all their 25 locations. So we will be traveling eventually to all of them. But we're starting in Mission, Pitt Meadows, and Port Coquitlam in October, November.
Yeah.
And then, so we'll have all our books with us. We have that book. We have our coloring book too. So we can't forget our creepy cryptid coloring adventure as well. So we will have all our books with us and traveling to these events. So including our winter ghost stories here pretty soon. So,
but our website has it all, and we also have also the list of the bookstores on our website.
On our website, yeah, and we will have them also in the Mission Museum because they recently asked us if we want to have our books carried in their gift shop. So we are trying to kind of branch out to local areas. We apologize that we're not on Amazon, but we just don't feel like we want to be on there. So I know it's a big selling spot for authors, and we're probably, I don't know, we maybe could sell a lot more books, but just personal reasons not on there at the moment. So not to say that we won't ever be.
Very friendly to self-publishing authors.
No, they take a lot of your money. Like they didn't do anything, and you just put them on there, and they grab a lot of a percentage, which
But even regular bookstores, I noticed they're not very inclusive as well, like Indigo, Chapters, and all those guys.
Yeah, I also have a traditional publisher, so we're self-published. So as independent authors, we struggle a little to be in the mainstream, but you know what? We're doing okay. So we've gone into our volume 1, Evenings and Avenues, Hauntings in the Outskirts, has gone to like the 3rd print now. So we have sold out a few times. So yeah, we anticipate that that'll be happening with the other volumes as well. So yeah, we're whoever wants them, just give us a holler at our website and email us, and we will ship to you.
Great. Yeah, I'll put a link in the description to your website and with the list so people can grab your books, plural, and the new ones that are coming out. Because they're in October, the new scary Christmassy stories.
The Ghost Stories for Winter. Yes,
Ghost Stories for Winter.
And that will be launched in October, so keep an eye out for that one.
All right. So let's leave it there for today. Thank you so much for being on the show. It was great.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Much.
Today's episode of Science vs. Conspiracy Over Coffee has been produced by Story Monkey Productions in association with the Foundation for Local Journalism. The Foundation for Local Journalism is a non-profit society focused on providing funding to journalists to tell local stories. Details are in the show notes. And remember, being paranoid is smart. We'll see you next time.